What is up and welcome back. We are your Colorado real estate family, Pete and Chelsea Sweeney, and Loveland, Colorado has been growing like crazy these last couple of years. Well, the big question is how are they preparing for so much growth in 2023?
All right, let's go. The first thing that Loveland is doing to prepare for this growth is this advanced metering infrastructure. Now, I personally did not know what that was, but it's really interesting to me about how some of these cities that do have some of this older infrastructure are trying to change to make sure that they can, kind of handle this growth. So I guess they have been starting the testing back in 2014, and they have been trialing this out in the city of Loveland. They plan in 2023 to start this whole infrastructure on this advanced metering, and it's going to continue for the next 4 years.
Yeah, guys, so all right, let's kind of put this into perspective. Hopefully you can hear us. It's a little windy out right now. Hopefully
you can hear us.
And so what a lot of these municipalities, like Westminster just did something similar, where they are putting in these wireless meters, is with the growth, they're like, all right, how do we become more efficient via technology? And personally for us, we have multiple Airbnbs. We would not be able to do that without technology. This is kind of the ways of looking into that, is like, how can we do that? It reduces the visits that workers have to go out to the properties to really kind of check these meters. It also enhances your billing a little bit. Maybe it helps you out with a little bit more efficiency, right? And so they're like, not only is it going to help us out to become more efficient as a city, but also possibly help out our customers or our residents who are living here in Loveland, Colorado, become more efficient with their water bills.
Yeah, the other thing too that they were talking about when we were reading into this is that this wireless mechanism is going to allow them to also kind of advance into new technology as it becomes available. So if they go on this wireless platform, that's going to open up different things. They said they called it like toolboxes and stuff that they're able to kind of tap in and be able to troubleshoot from kind of like obviously further away, not having to be on site. It's probably going to help with, I don't know about you, but we've talked a little bit about people coming on property and access to things. And so I think that'll also mitigate some of that.
Yeah, so and one thing, okay, so I'm going to kind of tell you about the downside to that, and this is something that I just said, majority of my family lives over in Westminster. After they did this, they did slightly see their bills increase a little bit because of those fees in order to put this in place, right? So I'm not exactly sure whether Loveland has the funds in place so that they didn't have to increase those rates a little bit, potentially, but something to kind of look at. It might be a downside to doing this. At the same time, I think that overall the cost will go down in the near future. And the second thing that we're going to be discussing is the water in Loveland, and guys, this is a huge topic in so many of these different cities. With all this growth happening, how do we make sure that we have enough water for all the residents who are moving into here? So this isn't just exclusive to Loveland. A lot of cities are putting stuff in place to make sure that they do to have the water that they need in order to make sure that there's never a shortage amongst all the residents.
So in order to do that, there's 3 different ways that I kind of saw Loveland taking this head on, and one of them is in tanks. The other one is going to be kind of replacing lines or even expanding lines. So those are the 3 ways that we're seeing Loveland kind of dive into that. The first thing that I saw, which I think is really telling, because Loveland is kind of spreading out. It's always really dense in the middle. That's how Loveland started. Now it's starting to, fill in on the south side, the north side, and the east side, even the west, really. So,
yeah, the west, yeah.
But on the north side, I actually used to live in northwest Loveland. They're putting a new tank there on the western end of 43rd, which is going to really just make it easier for all of that new development in high demand, that they have that extra water supply to make sure that that side of town is getting the enough water during those high demands.
One of those lines that they're going to be throwing in is going to be under South St. Louis, and it's actually going to be crossing across the Big Thompson. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Big Thompson, that's a huge supply of water that kind of goes out into the Carbon Valley. Like I said, water here is becoming a little bit scarce, guys, and so like the water rights, if you are planning on getting water from these different areas as like a farm, if you're looking at doing new developments, it could be a pretty penny. And so they're seeing a lot of that over in the Carbon Valley. But yeah, Loveland is putting stuff in place to make sure that they are plentiful in water.
Yeah, that line is supposed to kind of help with the distribution of water and its efficiency. So I think that's what they're looking at as far as lines or even expansion. So as far as expansion goes, they are going all the way out east and expanding some of the lines to bring water to kind of that eastern side of Loveland by Highway 402 and I-25. So again, we are, as we're going up north, we've talked about this a lot in our northern Colorado, a lot of these cities were, a good 10-15 minutes off of I-25, which is our main highway going north and south. Now what we're seeing, because these areas are growing growing so much, we're starting to see them come closer together. We're starting to see them expand all the way out to the highway. So the accessibility to the highway is getting better as growth in Loveland and Fort Collins is happening because they had so much land surrounding their downtown areas. There is a lot of room for growth, and they are just, getting into that whole expansion on how to service that east side of town. Before we continue, if this is content that you like and you want to stay up to date on all of these cities, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, and give us a thumbs up on the video because we do all these videos for you guys.
And of course, guys, if you are looking at purchasing real estate here in the state of Colorado today, we're talking about Loveland. Why don't you give us a call or text on the phone number right below. I guess we throw our email in there somewhere as well too. So reach out to us, whatever works for you. We are always there to answer all your messages, phone calls, doesn't matter.
The third thing we need to talk about is all of this planning and rezoning.
Oh, hold on. Before she goes into that, real quick, I want to throw you a little teaser in there. We've constantly talked about the market and how it's changing. It has changed a little bit, guys, so stick around to the end of the video and we're going to dive in a little bit. What we're kind of seeing, what our prices going up or down in Loveland over these last couple of months.
When talking about rezoning, I love looking at development plans. I like seeing what people are putting out there. I like seeing if there's any trends, and I definitely saw a trend in Loveland, okay? I went in there, I saw all of these single family, I would say 50% of these rezonings, maybe even more. I didn't do like a calculation, guys, but I was clicking on every single one for you. Most of them were this rezoning from the single family lots to these, lots that are able to hold multifamily duplex kind of living. And we've seen this a lot with downtown Loveland of trying to bring that kind of new age to Loveland. Loveland has always kind of been an older feel and a lot of single family, and we're seeing a ton of proposals coming for duplexes, multi-use, things like that. You also saw some things with land.
Yeah, so land too, so if you look at like South Loveland, so here's the thing about Loveland, it feels like between North Loveland and South Fort Collins, there's not as much of a gap as opposed to like Longmont or North Longmont and South Loveland.
Or even Berthoud in there.
You have a bunch of like farmland in there. And so what they're doing is they're taking this farmland, like, all right, we're expanding outwards. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take parcels of this land, split it up. That way we have different developments, different houses that we can throw on this. And that's what Loveland's doing quite a bit of.
Yeah, we've even seen it, a small little piece like of a corner lot, and they're splitting it, they're putting a proposal in to split it into 3 parcels. So we know that these people who own this land, or whether it's the city, they are preparing for development. So these are the things that we look for when we know an area is going to blow up. We are constantly, and now whether or not some of these things go through is different, right? These are all in proposal stages. So they have to get approved. Some things have to go, to neighborhood hearings and all of that. So there are multiple steps that happen after this, but this is all signs of growth for Loveland.
Yeah, and I'm curious about this because like if you go on Denver, so the Highlands, when it really got popular, what they were doing was they're taking like single family residents and they're throwing up these huge duplexes, right? And so if you drive down to the Highlands when the early stages, when it was really starting to happen, you just saw a bunch of these like massive duplexes. I wonder if there's gonna be something similar in Loveland. It might not be, because Loveland, I feel like they do a great job of still kind of keeping that small town Loveland feel to it. Probably something similar to like what we see like over in Highlands, Sloan's, even a few other like Wash Park. I'm trying to think. Wash Park doesn't have too many of them, but so something similar is happening in Denver. I think Loveland's kind of taking that on.
To give an example of some of these proposals, we saw a new one, because what we really see in Loveland is we see a lot of development around downtown Loveland, and then we see a lot over on kind of the Centera, also on the east side of I-25. So over by Boyd Lake, which is kind of right off the highway, they have a proposal right now for 368 units of multifamily. This includes a park and a dog park. Like they're trying to create these communities that I feel like Colorado is really fond of. Going to some of these other states where we have properties, you don't see these massive, communities where you live, you play, you eat, all the things. What Peter always does that
eat,
so well.
Sleep, play, live. I always get it mixed up anyways. It doesn't matter.
I'm like, all the things you do. But they have this community style, and like even including a dog park for because Colorado really loves our dogs and any of our fur friends. So they're creating these, what do you call them? Like these big master plan communities. And it even so in Loveland, and especially with access from the highway.
And if you guys aren't familiar with us, if you've been stuck around with us, you might know this, but we actually got married on Boyd Lake. And so it's like someone forgot like the life jackets and the jet skis, and we had Mustangs that went awry and all that stuff. And I don't know why she's pointing at me. I'm blaming my groomsmen, all
My
right?
dress literally detached so that we could take off on a jet ski,
Yep.
and then Boyd Lake would not let us go because we didn't have life vests. So bring your life vest to Boyd Lake. There is a little swim beach, but anyways,
Yep.
be able to have Boyd Lake right there and all of this development
Yep.
with the dog park and this community, it's going to be pretty popular
I agree.
in that
Oh, yeah.
area, and accessibility to the highway. So
Yep.
they are strategic in Loveland, and I think they're doing it right.
Well, and they're honing in on that lake life, because if you go to northern Colorado, they are serious about their lake life, whether it be Loveland, Fort Collins, I mean, even a little bit of Longmont too. They're all about having those boats, going out, enjoying the lake. And so the fact that they're honing in on Boyd Lake, which is a huge lake life lake, super cool. So the fourth thing that we're going to be honing in on is, we've talked about Loveland as a whole. Let's kind of go into downtown Loveland a little bit, because it is changing so much there.
So much.
But a few things that they're really getting there is they're getting a brand new grocery store. They're getting some new, they're also getting this 5-story new parking garage deck thing there. And it's pretty, well, I mean, the parking there, I will say it's not the best.
It's hard.
You know,
Yeah.
it's pretty hard to park down there. If you have a house down there, then it's amazing. Cause
We
you
just walk everywhere.
we have.
from,
So our northern agent, I'm sure you guys have seen her, Elena. She's on all of our videos. She literally lives a block over from Loveland, and it's so nice just being able to walk over and
We
hit all
just
the
walked and got
restaurants,
tacos
the theaters.
for Cinco de Mayo the other day.
Oh, yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah.
The other thing is they are changing the grain and feed, that big build, I mean, it's a big building, into 10 residential and 10 commercial spaces. So we are seeing things still even be converted down there and being torn down and completely revamped for additional living. All right, if you've stuck around this long, it probably means that you're interested in what real estate looks like, which is where Peter is going to take it from here.
Yeah, guys. So, I mean, I'm asked this question all the time. I literally was just out with some clients yesterday asking me whether or not the market's going to crash. Like I said, I can't predict the future, but what I can do is kind of see what the numbers are showing us right now. And so let's kind of dive in. First, we'll talk about your single family, which you got your median sales price as of April of 2023, $507,000. Where is that price point in comparison to last month, 3 months, and last year? The last month, it's actually up 4.08%, which this trend is not what we were seeing at the beginning of the year. Beginning of the year, we were seeing a bunch of red. Ever since I believe it was November, our price points kept going down, right? So what's it look like in the last 3 months? It gives us a little bit bigger of a picture. Over the last 3 months, it's actually up 6.78%. All right, cool. So it's still kind of going up. Now here's the interesting number right here, and I'm going to explain to you why I feel like this number is the way it is. Over the last 12 months, we're talking about year over year, it's actually down 7.75%. Why do I think this is? Last spring was insane. Houses were seriously selling for $50,000, $100,000 over list price with those lower interest rates. I believe that's why it was year over year. It's interesting to see that it's kind of trending upward the way it is. My prediction kind of when we first started out the year is that we're going to be a little bit more stagnant this year, kind of do something like this. So who knows? We'll see what happens this summer. This summer might pick up a little bit more, but everyone's always like, hey, the market's going to crash and this and that. I just, at this point, unless something crazy happens with the Fed raising interest rates, I know it's not directly correlated. I'm just saying that there's usually a trend. When they raise them, our interest rates go up as well too, right? But now let's go ahead and break into that multifamily. We're talking about your condos, townhouses, and row homes. Median sales price on those as of April of 2023 is $375,000, which crazy. That's the exact same number in Fort Collins as well too. So I don't know why they, yeah, it's crazy that they're both the exact same. So what does that look like over the last month? That is actually down 2.09%. And this is the exact opposite we were seeing. Beginning of the year, we were seeing how your multifamily was actually up and your single family was down. So now they're kind of flip-flopping a little bit. What does that look like over the last 3 months? It's actually down 6.25%. So still going down, kind of see what's happening with that. Year over year, what we're looking at year over year, it's actually down 8.54%. So it's a lot different story. When we first when interest rates really started getting crazy and everyone's like, you know, it's pushed me into this different product where I don't have as much money to spend on a house. So you saw a lot of clients who were going from like a single family down to a multifamily. You know, mainly townhouses, what we were seeing, like, you know, because if you go to a single family to a condo, that's a huge difference as compared to like a townhouse. But that's kind of what we're seeing. So it's kind of interesting to see how the price points on those are going down. Maybe people are still expecting those rates to go down this summer or something. I don't know. It's crazy to see that single family is still kind of going up a little bit, and now we have our multifamily going down.
What I think will be interesting to see, and something that I think will kind of track, is because we've talked so much about these rezoning and having more product in that space, if we'll start to see it be more popular. Because in Loveland, we didn't have a lot of that product also. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Usually if you don't have that product and you have a high demand, the prices is up. So it's interesting that it's going down, yet majority of the rezoning is to build more of it.
Well, it's all the principle of supply and demand, right? When you have more product, obviously there's more competition, and so it kind of brings that down a little bit. I didn't think that there was that much of the multifamily there yet that was established with all the construction. I might have been wrong. You know, maybe there are that flooded the market a little bit. That's kind of what brought the prices down. But like I said, it's interesting to see that single family is going up as compared to your multifam.
All right, we have talked about 5 different things that we know is coming to Loveland to kind of prepare for all of this growth. If you have questions about that, please comment down below. Let us know. We follow these trends on purpose. We want to make sure that you have all the information that you need to pick the best city for you. We do these videos for you.
And of course, guys, if you haven't done so already, can you do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button? Maybe give us a thumbs up, little notification bell. That way you're notified every single time that we put out a brand new video. I'm telling you guys, when you guys do hit that subscribe button, it puts our videos out to more people who could be exposed to this great information. So if you do love it, please do that. Also, if you are looking at purchasing real estate here in the state of Colorado, go ahead and give us a call or text on the phone number right below right there. We are always answering. It doesn't matter date or time. Until next time, we love you.
Bye.
And for that growth in 2023.
All right, let's find out.
Let's go.
I got excited. The first thing that wait, do we have to do the thingy? Oh, we don't. Oh, jeez. Okay.
That they do have the water that they need in order for the residents